celebrating the art of storytelling and the artists who bring stories to life. This is the Viewfinder Podcast with Chris Hadley.
This week, acclaimed actor Justin Kirk joins the Viewfinder Podcast to talk about his latest role as a key figure in author Anne Rice's expansive Interview with the Vampire Universe, that of the beguiling, manipulative, and persuasive body thief Raglan James in AMC's The Vampire Lestat. The show stars Sam Reid as the ancient bloodsucker turned rock star Lestat de Lioncourt, Jacob Anderson as his betrayed ex-lover Louis de Pointe, Jennifer Ehle as his beloved mother/very twisted love interest Gabriella, and Eric Bogosian as Daniel Molloy, the veteran reporter who tries to get Lestat's side of his tumultuous story, even if it's not as simple as 3 chords and the truth. Justin and I talk about his portrayal of Raglan James in The Vampire Lestat, as well as some of his other major career highlights, like his legendary performances on shows like Weeds, Succession, and HBO's Emmy-winning miniseries Angels in America, and much more, now on this week's Viewfinder Podcast. Welcome to my guest, the amazing, the brilliant, the wonderful, the lovely Justin Kirk. Justin,
that's the way to introduce your guest. Very nice.
Thank you so much. Yes, Justin, is truly an honor and a privilege to have you on today.
Well, I'm delighted to be here with you today.
And I'm delighted to have you. Now, as far as The Vampire Lestat is concerned, which is the show that you're on, it is, of course, part of the Interview with the Vampire Universe created by the legendary Anne Rice. How did you first get involved with the series, and what initially attracted you to Raglan James, aka the body thief in the novels, as a character?
Yeah, well, it was my friend Raglan Jones's idea. He reached out to me and said, "We've got this part, and it shows up in a book later, but at the moment, I want to sort of drop in some Easter eggs about this character beforehand." And so I picked up Tell the Body Thief and started to figure stuff out. And yeah, to this point, as I'm sure you know, and certainly readers of the books know, he's introduced after everything we've seen on TV at this point. He's been kicked out of the Telemasca and for bad behavior. But so far on the show, that hasn't happened yet. So, I don't know. We're playing it as it goes.
Did you read the novels before taking on the role, or did you approach Raglan primarily through the scripts and the on-screen interpretation of him?
Well, I mean, certainly the latter, but yeah, I did. Not the originals, which is, but, I don't have to. I'm not a regular on that show. I can just read my book. So I did Body Thief, and just to sort of try to get some clues and whatever they were. And then I pitched a couple things to Ron, and he said, "Oh, okay, let's try that." Okay, and that's kind of honestly what we do on set. Sometimes we try a few different things, and I have no idea what they're gonna end up putting on the show, but it's so great because and as you know, I did an episode of the late great Talamasca series as well, and then there's another one. So Raglan can sort of pop up wherever, and I'm since I'm really only just to jump in occasionally, I consider myself at least as much a fan of the show as a participant, and so I feel comfortable saying that I just love it so much, and I think it's what they're doing is pretty exciting, taking big swings in a way that we don't I think maybe see on TV currently that often. So that's cool. So I'm certainly enjoying this this season. A lot of which I had no, I only really saw the scripts that I was in. So anyway, it's a good show.
Yeah, that's cool. It is. Now, without spoilers, how would you
And
describe?
as I'm sure you know, they did the first season near you.
Yes, I know. And
Yeah,
that's where Anne Rice was born and where she wrote the book.
right. Were
Yeah.
you familiar with these
Um,
books?
I never read the books, but I have heard about them. I mean,
Yeah,
and of course, the original film was shot in New Orleans, and I
right.
remember when that was going on.
Which I've never watched. I know it's on like Tubi. I should probably watch
Yeah, I've never watched it either.
it.
Yeah. Without spoilers, how would you describe Raglan's place in the broader story of Interview with the Vampire and the Immortal Universe?
It's a great question, and one I don't know that I have an answer to. I don't even really have that many spoilers because, like I said, I'm kept out of the dark, or kept in the dark, out of the loop, a lot of the times. Um, you know, as if people that have watched the show, we started with that flash forward scene at an auction, and where Lestat seems to have, we don't know if he's no longer with us, or but he's these things of his are being sold, and why is Raglan James there? So we played with a lot of different things on the day for that, and I know I just yammered a lot without telling you anything, and
Oh
that's
no, it's fine. It's
all I
fine.
got.
Hammer away.
Yeah.
Now, what sets Raglan apart from other characters you've played, and what aspects of him felt new and or exciting to you?
It is very different, and I wanted it to be different when I went into it. I mean, obviously you have the template of the of a book that's been written, and but it's fun to do stuff that's immediately put on some silly glasses, and the glasses for me was partly I wanted to suggest maybe that his body was not failing. I mean, people that were, but it was a way of showing that, like, this is a guy looking for other meat sacks to get inside. And I guess in a lot of ways, what's different is that we really are sort of playing it as it goes and figuring out things as we go, which is a fun thing about television in general. You start a character, and by the third time you've appeared, you know about a lot more than you did the first time. Um, I think I said this in another interview where, do you know the sitcom Taxi? Are you familiar with Taxi?
Yes,
Yeah. So the great Christopher Lloyd as
yes,
Reverend Jim, when we
yes.
first saw him as a guest on the show, if you look back, he hasn't quite gotten to what it becomes by the time he's a regular on the show in terms of the way he speaks and all these things. So I always found that interesting from a sort of behind the scenes perspective, imagining the actor sort of doing the episode when they called him in, they wanted him to come back, getting a little deeper in, and so that's been my experience with this one.
How did you prepare for playing Raglan James, and were there specific choices or personal touches you add to make him your own?
Yeah. Um, well, I don't want to get too in the weeds. One of
No,
my
no, no, no.
favorite, no, no, it's all right. One of my favorite things about this guy is the degree of to which he's an enigma, really. And so, I try some stuff. I thought about some stuff. I think maybe he went to Oxford. I can't remember if I read that or just decided it. And and we go and I do some things. Look, sometimes excuse me, sometimes I get
Yes.
through a whole take or scene, and the director will come over, and I'm just sort of like, I'm just going for it, man, which seems to
Yeah.
be the theme of the show. I just love what Jennifer Ehle is doing with Gabriella. She's the nature of this show, both I think from an actor's point of view and also just the people that are making it, is big swings, taking big swings. which is exciting to see in a time of mid television, which I feel we're kind of in at the moment, alas.
And for those who may not be familiar, Jennifer Ehle plays Gabriella, who is
Yeah,
both the mother of the vampire Lestat and also his lover.
the mother/lover.
Yes.
Yeah.
When building your portrayal of Raglan, what were some of the biggest influences, artistic, personal, or drawn from the scripts?
That's a great question. And I don't, and there's no answer to it. I don't know that there are. I think I try to, he's written in a very specific way. And I just try to get as familiar as I can with that. And then let osmosis take over as we start, which you say, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to think that, and here's what the clothes are and the look. And now the camera is rolling, and let's see what happens.
How did you develop Raglan's mannerism, his personality, and even his accent? Did these choices evolve through a collaboration with Rollin and the creative team, or was that all something you created on your own?
Well, I think I brought it. There's clues. There are some clues in the book in Body Thief, and then I showed up on set and did a thing, and Ron said, "Cool."
Yeah. What were some of the biggest challenges that came with portraying Raglan emotionally, physically, and/or creatively?
Well, probably just the lack of knowledge of what a lot of the stuff is, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with, as an actor, making one or two big specifics, knowing one or two things, but you don't gotta know everything, because we don't know everything in life. And then, the people who are writing the scripts, they're the ones who are really doing doing the work.
Exactly.
And if you can be present and show up with some strong ideas and intentions and one or two character things, then it should all merge together and take off.
Yeah.
Ideally.
Exactly. And as a writer myself, I definitely know how important it is to develop not just great characters, but also the important situations and at times, witty dialogue, I guess.
Yeah, well, they're good at that over there.
Yes.
I don't like when people turn on the closed captions on their TV. That a lot of people do that these
Right.
days. And I always yell at my friends, and I'm like, "You're killing the actor because you're reading the line before it comes out of their mouth."
Right.
Having said that, there are times on this show where I have to do it because it just goes by so fast, and I'll go back and make sure I've caught everything. And those guys are good.
They are.
Good word writers over there.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
What have been some of the biggest rewards you found in playing Raglan James? And did he feel comparable in any way to past roles or completely unique from those?
It's pretty unique, I would say. The reward is it's just a great set to be on. Um, Jacob Anderson is really just one of the greatest guys and a phenomenal actor. I haven't worked with Sam as much, but that's been a great experience. And of course, Bogosian.
Yes.
And then my old friends, Craig Zisk directs a few episodes of that show. And Craig and Rollin and I go back to Weeds, and we're all friends as well, and made some classic episodes of Weeds. And so getting to be on a set with those guys, these, 15 years and plus later, is it's really beautiful and special, and in a whole new venue. So that's a real privilege.
Yeah. And you've worked with Rollin on Weeds and Perry Mason, which was tragically canceled. They should have never canceled that show.
Well, Ron was gone before, for the second season.
Okay.
Ron and Ron Fitzgerald, who was another writer from Weeds, they were the sort of co-showrunners of the first season. Yeah, I certainly went into that gig with high expectations because it's IP. Like Perry Mason is a
Right.
classic American thing, and my character Hamilton Berger was a classic piece of the iconography, and so that was exciting to do. So yeah, but you never know about these things and how
Yeah.
long they're going to last and
Hmm.
how it's all going to shake out. That
Right.
was nice also because it was close. Didn't have to get on a plane to do that one.
Yeah. How has your partnership with Rollin evolved, and how did that familiarity help you shape your portrayal of Raglan as you work with him in both developing and performing him?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because, he's one of my dearest friends. And we've worked together many times. We started in Weeds. I've done a play of his, which was a really phenomenal experience called These Paper Bullets.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I suppose it's probably honestly a double-edged sword because it's beautiful and lovely to work with your friend. And it's also there's a little bit like it adds it adds a different feeling when hoping that they're happy with how it's going and oh that's my friend over there. Sometimes as an actor I feel very private and would rather it's not it's nice to be around strangers too
Right.
because you're not thinking about your personal life with them. But no, my relationship with him, I'm very grateful for, and so far have enjoyed all of them. We'll see if that changes in the future.
Before you became a full-time actor, you played in several rock bands, including, of course, the Dime Store Darlings.
Of
Their
course.
their album is on iTunes, and I listened to it a couple of weeks ago. It was really good.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I'm going to pass that on to the other Diamond Store Darlings. They'll
Yeah.
be thrilled to hear that. I was an actor at that point. Look, I music is very important to me as a consumer, certainly. And I was in my 20s and we were playing in New York, and that was a beautiful thing. But at a certain point, I recognized that personally there were limitations to that, and I'm an actor. That's what I've always been and was before we were doing that, and so. That part of I don't really do that anymore, except for the play I mentioned, These Paper Bullets, was have you heard of this thing that we did?
Uh, I have, but I haven't really seen anything from
Oh
it.
yeah, so let me tell you, it was so cool. It was essentially Much Ado About Nothing by Shakespeare.
Right.
If it was about the British invasion,
Yeah.
so meaning the Beatles,
Yeah.
etc. And Billy Joe from Green Day wrote the music.
Mm.
So I was Benedict slash John Lennon, sort of,
Yeah.
and we were this band called the Quartos, and all the other guys in the band, actor, musicians, certainly better musicians than I was, and we got to play these 8 songs a night that were Billy Joe penned, but each one sounded kind of like a Beatles song that and we did it for a couple months in here in LA and then a few months in New York at the Atlantic and that was a really beautiful thing. I don't remember how I got on that, but
It's
Braun, yeah, was that what it was?
yes. Yeah. Rollin wrote the play.
He did, along with Shakespeare. It was kind of half.
Yes.
There was a lot of pure Much Ado About Nothing, and then and then Jones threw in his stuff as well. It's very strange because I thought it was just a great show and a great cast. It's an enormous cast, so I wouldn't say that it's likely to be done by a ton of regional theaters
Right.
because it's not exactly easy to mount.
No.
But when we did it, it was a very special thing.
This reminds me, I actually played music for a lot of years. I was a guitarist, and I also
Okay.
played drums and percussion in my college concert band. But it was basically just like auxiliary percussion, like sleigh bells and shakers and snare drum. But
Fantastic.
yeah, yeah. But I really don't play it that much anymore. I mean, other
Yeah,
than
me
yeah,
neither. Me neither.
yeah.
Did you hear? You've been watching Vampire Lestat, yeah?
Yes,
Did you hear the Dime Store Darlings reference?
yes, I did. I did. Loved
That was
it.
pretty. That was pretty fun. And when I
Yes.
saw that in the script, I took a little picture and sent it to the guys in the band. They were very excited to see that. And the other ones too. I think Bukkake Ice Helmet is a joke that Rollins been telling for years. So the other list of bands on there,
Uh,
it's imagination.
yeah. Did your experience in that scene, as well as your previous music-related roles and performances, like discussed, influence your portrayal of Raglan in any way? And if so, how did you draw upon all that?
My experience in which scene?
And the music scene.
I don't. Which one are you talking about?
Um,
Oh, I mean like the music scene, not the scene
yes.
in the show. Yeah.
No, 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 not the scene in the
Um.
show, but like,
Gosh, boy, that's a great question. I don't know that I mean, I think I'm as influenced or as inspired by certainly by my musical heroes as I am by any actors, I think. I was a teenager in the 80s in Minneapolis, which was Prince,
yeah,
but also the Replacements and Husker Du. And it was a very fertile, creative place to be as a young person, you know.
yeah,
And the Twins won the World Series twice.
right, right.
There, I don't know if that's going to be happening anytime soon, but I'm still watching. I do love my Twins. I'm not really a sports person, but I watch my
Okay.
Twins every day.
Yeah. How, if at all, has music influenced your approach to acting in general?
Yeah, I think there's no way to really to articulate it, but certainly, yeah, like I said, I've been as influenced or as inspired by the performers that I love in that world as much as anything in movies, television, theater, etc. So a lot. There's it's all getting up on a stage and trying to communicate something to the people that are sitting out there.
It's like rock and roll almost. It's compelling, it's unpredictable, it's dangerous at times, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's still highly entertaining and
Well,
unforgettable.
that's why it's so funny, as they've referenced on Vampire the Stat, that he's a rock star, but of course in 2026, that's kind of a sort of
Right.
thing that is not quite what it once was.
Exactly.
So, but that's all right. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Now, you've had quite a busy year in addition to the Vampire Lestat, beginning with Peacock's new series adaptation of the classic 1989 Tom Hanks comedy, The Burbs.
Mm,
In that show, you play Gary, who is a very mysterious and very grumpy new neighbor who moves into a very creepy old house
mm.
in a supposedly perfect town that's actually got a lot of dark secrets underneath the surface. What was your approach to playing him? How did you develop the character, and what specifically intrigued you about him?
Well, that was um, the person who made that show reached out to me and said, "Would you come do this?
Mhm.
I'm going to kill you in episode 5." Spoiler alert. Although I think I lived a little bit later. There was talk of me living, and if you've watched the show, for all we know, he still is alive because the person who claims he killed him, we never see that actually happen. So how do I, same as before. I don't, a lot of the other departments do a lot of work for you. You put on some clothes that get you there. You walk onto that. That thing was, we shot that thing on the street in Universal Studios. That is the street that was used for the original Burbs,
Yeah,
but also Desperate Housewives. My house, Gary's house on that show, is the Munsters
I know
house. Amazing,
it is.
amazing. So that's such a fun thing as an actor to I still get excited to walk onto a lot. Paramount, Fox, that was Universal, Warner Brothers, because you just feel like, oh, all the things that have gone on here before, all the ghosts that have happened. Yeah, so and God bless them. That thing is done pretty well, and I know they're in the writer's room for a season two, and that was a good one, a good experience as well. Yeah, but it's true. Yes, last year was a busy year. You never know because the year before that was not. We had all the
Right.
strikes, etc., and
Yeah.
so I barely worked that year. But last year, I don't think I stopped for 12 to 14 months.
Given that you've played lots of morally ambiguous yet incredibly charming characters in the past, how does Gary both stand out from and compare to those characters?
Well, Gary, of course, I think we're led to believe that he might be something that he's not. Um, so, as you say, he's just he's just sort of a misanthrope. Spoiler alert. Uh, yeah, it's funny. I am kind of in my creep era. When I was a younger person, I played a lot of saintly people, and now they come to me for the creeps. I just played a creep in a movie, and I was like, when they offered it to me, and I finished reading it, and I was like, well, this is a great script. I don't want to play this guy. It's just, and I've played some creeps. I mean, I played
Yeah.
a neo-Nazi president for God's sakes,
Yeah.
and so I have no problem with being unlikable. As a matter of fact, I think that's where there's a lot of freedom as an actor because you can go places that you wouldn't want to in life, but you're free to be as horrible as you can be. So that's a nice thing to tap into.
You've also guest starred on the CBS comedy series Ghosts, where you
Yeah.
play the very opportunistic politician Mayor Tad. Given that your last political role was as the charismatic yet incredibly dangerous presidential candidate Jared Mencken in Succession, what did you do to differentiate Mayor Tad from Jared Mencken while also incorporating that familiar air of ambiguity mixed with charm?
Yeah. Well, that's funny. When that offer came in, Ghosts, I was like, oh, this show's great. But I kind of just did this guy. And then, of course, my agents reminded me, well, it's a very different scenario and just tone of show. And so that's the thing. One was serving what Succession was, and one is serving what Ghosts is. And I love Ghosts. I've when I got the job, I was aware of it, and I think maybe seen a little because I was like, oh, I've heard this is pretty good. After my first appearance, I went home and I started from the beginning. I just think what they do is so great. And in service of like a broadcast television uh, hit sitcom, and yet it's I think phenomenal. And all these guys are doing it's so smartly written. All the actors are great. And I know it's based on a British show, which people love. I've never watched it because I don't want to cheat on my American friends. And there have been lots of those. But yeah, I've now done five or six of those, I guess. And it's in Montreal. So you gotta get on a plane and go. And every time I've been there, it's been brutally wintry.
Yeah.
Uh, so like I tried to leave my hotel twice and almost died, but I
Oh,
made it. Well, I exaggerate a little bit, but it's worth it because of what they do there. So I'm happy to serve when they call.
you also co-starred in and co-executive produced with Usman Ali, who I had on the show several months ago, the
Right.
award-winning short film Emigre Americana, where you portray Alan, an immigration agent who holds the fate of an asylum seeker, Saad, played by Omar Mascati, in his hands only for circumstances to impact his life and his quest for legal citizenship. What drew you to not just the character you played, but also the film itself? And what was it like to be involved on the production side of a project again, as you were for the 2019 thriller feature 3 Day Weekend?
Right. Oh, you're good. You've done your work. You know, look, both of those situations were friends who I believed in. So my title of executive producer essentially was not a creative position at all. It was kind of helping to get the movie made.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and and Usman, I did a play with in New York, gosh, 10 years ago, called The Invisible Hand. And so when he was going to put this thing together, we talked about it, and I said, sure, I'd love to help with that and be involved, and I'll play a little part too. That was fun. And then the other one, 3 Day Weekend, those are my friends, Wyatt McDill and Megan Huber. I grew up with Wyatt. We've known each other since we were 12 years old at the Children's Theater Company in Minneapolis. And I've done that 3 Day Weekend is I didn't do any acting in. I wasn't even on set. They were somewhere deep in the Minnesota wild for that. But I've acted in two movies for him. Is it only two? We did one called Four Boxes, which was their first movie that I love a lot. And then we did recently one called Hollywood Fringe. So anyway, these are same filmmakers, friends, but filmmakers that I very much believe in. It's lovely to work with friends, but I wouldn't work with one that I didn't think was, you know, a worthy artist or someone that I wouldn't have done the job anyway, whether it was a person I knew or not. So that's a great coming together of things to happen.
It definitely was incredible, and you were brilliant in it, as was the entire cast, and Usman did an amazing job with that.
Yeah, I know he's trying to there's a world in which it's a feature. So
Yeah.
hopefully he's but I think I think he just got a great acting job. So I'm which I it's not for me to talk about, but
Right.
that's good. That's good for because we gotta pay the rent.
I know. I
So
know. You recently took part in a table read on Zoom for the full-length screenplay of another short film, which is the family drama slash coming-of-age story Miriam,
yeah.
where you play the tradition-minded father of a young teenager, Miriam,
Yeah.
played by Pearl Scarlett Gold, who did such a wonderful job in that character, and her love of skateboarding conflicts with her faith. Considering that you played the character in both the short film and then in the table read,
Mm.
what did you learn about him? How did reading the full version of the script help you to both explore and develop that character? And how did you personally identify with him, if at all?
Yeah, I had read that when they asked me to do the short, um, I had they the feature script existed, so I read that as well. Speaking of different of characters you don't get asked to play a lot, that was my first stern Orthodox father. So that was fun to do, and I got to wear a fake little payas.
Mhm.
And as you said, Pearl, phenomenal, as was the rest of the cast,
Yes.
and Levi, who used to work uh, at my agent's.
Mhm.
That's how that came to me. My agent reached out and told me about Levi and
Levi Alexander, the screenwriter of the film.
how great he was. Yeah. So and so yeah, I know they'd like to make we shot the short. I know they'd like to make the feature of that too. Alas, Pearl is rapidly growing as people
Yes.
do. So I don't know how they better get it done tomorrow.
Well, I would definitely love to see a feature film version of that because it was wonderful.
So,
In terms of voice acting versus on-camera acting,
mm.
is there any challenges that you face in terms of the former? And Is it necessarily easier to do since you have just like an emphasis on words in the script versus on camera acting where you obviously have to take into account the fact that you're being on film and you're doing a lot of stuff that's going
Right.
on while other stuff is going
Well,
on in the background?
you don't have to go through hair and makeup,
Right.
so you don't have to worry about the night before. Um, and yeah, I don't know. In the voiceovers, for me, it's not like I'm a big player in that world, but when
No.
it does happen, you go and just try to serve, just try to give them what they want, because a lot of it is sometimes they'll show you pictures that an artist has done. It obviously the whole thing hasn't been put together yet. Um, and you try to figure it out as you do most of the time on this job.
What are some of your biggest inspirations as an actor? Like, what actors did you personally look up to, and
Right.
what performances did you look up to?
Sure. Well, as a kid, the first thing for me was SCTV.
Oh, I loved SCTV.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think, yeah, I think looking back on it, it's better than Saturday Night Live by far.
It was certainly, I mean, it is for me. And it gave us Eugene Levy, Catherine
Yes.
O'Hara, Martin Short, John Candy, Dave Thomas, Rick Moranis, Joe Flaherty, Andrea
Yes.
Martin, and they were all very young and deep in Canada. And so that was a big thing for me first as a very young person. I think I watched the first ones with my father when it was like on PBS, then it moved to NBC, and you had to stay up like after midnight. And I was probably 10 years old, 11 years old, trying to stay awake for SCTV.
Uh,
Then, sort of, I would say actorially, as a preteen, Sean Penn was a big deal. This was in the beginning of his, around the Fast Times era, but he had
yeah.
Falcon the Snowman. I remember I loved that movie a lot. Racing with the Moon, with I think Elizabeth McGovern, who I then worked with on Telemasque. And then when I became like a teenager, Malkovich was the guy.
Yeah.
You know, um, as a matter of fact, I'll be honest. I think I pretty much did a John Malkovich imitation throughout acting school because I don't think I'd really learned how to actually speak from my from and I was inspired by what he did, so I was often doing a Malkovich sort of impression, I think. Um, now I don't know that I have as much actor idols. I certainly love when I see a good stuff, but also John Waters and David Lynch were very important to me and remain important to me through my adult life. Uh, so that was a big. Those guys were big. As a matter of fact, well, I can't. If I could unblur, hang on. Let's see if I can. Do I know how to do this? God, video. You're gonna love this.
All right.
If I can
Put
do
the
it. Yep.
questions down.
Oh, uh-oh. Wait.
You disappeared.
I know I've been okay. Blur my background. Take that off. Okay, here I come back. Okay. See that picture
Yes.
hanging in my kitchen?
Yes.
That's when John Waters and David Lynch met.
Wow.
That's a classic picture out in front of Bob's Big Boy. And
Yes.
I love that picture and
Yeah, it's beautiful.
so it's
Beautiful.
framed and hanging in the
Yeah.
thing. So let's
Yeah.
let's blur that again. No one needs to see. Sorry
Oh
about
no,
that.
it's
I know
fine.
we're gonna blur. I learned how to do this, the blurring the other day, so
I still have no idea
it's
how to
fun.
do it
Oh,
myself.
sure. Oh, I can walk you through
Sure.
it.
Yeah.
All
Um,
right. So yes, so those are certainly some and and then of course like you were saying before, um well, the people at the Children's Theater Company in Minneapolis and the bands from the 80s in Minneapolis were
yeah.
very influential to me art creatively, artistically, and things like that.
Besides, obviously, your work, what are you watching in terms of films and TV shows?
Yeah, right. It's an interesting time. Like I said before, I feel like we went through couple decades where, like TV was definitely where it was at in terms of interesting storytelling and filmmaking. In the last few years, it seems to have sort of evened out a little bit. Everything's kind of like, yeah, that was pretty good. What have I liked recently? Well, a couple years ago, I really loved. Did you see Beau is Afraid, the Ari Aster movie? Beau is Afraid.
No.
You know who Ari Aster is, though?
I've heard of him. I haven't seen any of his
Midsummer,
work.
Midsummer, and
Yes.
Hereditary. So he made these two like horror movies that were big hits, and so then he decided to get the studio to give him lots of money to make his weird art movie, which is what Beau is Afraid is. It's a long epic journey starring Joaquin Phoenix, and that's one that I watched it, and then a couple of days later I watched it again, and that's rare that happens. My favorite thing probably of the last, well, maybe ever, but it was already, and I'm realizing now it's already like 8 years ago. Speaking of David Lynch, was Twin Peaks: The Return, the Showtime Twin Peaks. I've watched that 18-hour thing probably 6 or 7 times. I love that very much. But and right now a lot of Minnesota Twins baseball. Seeing my Twins lose every day, I like to do that. I like to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm always on the lookout for, and of course, like I said, an Interview with the Vampire, I would say.
Yes.
And because I'm only occasionally on it, I feel like I can speak to it as being great, and it's not self-serving.
I think in terms of my creative inspirations, growing up, I mean, obviously, I watched a lot of Disney Channel and Nickelodeon, those kinds of shows, but also when I was getting older and I was like just past teenage, I was a huge Gilmore Girls fan.
Right.
Yeah, it's probably the only show that I really rewatched other than the Golden Girls and
As long as there's girls in the title. What about
yes,
Girls? Girl, that was a great
I
show.
haven't seen that one
Oh,
actually.
highly recommended. Very good.
Yeah,
Girls, when Girls came out, it was like, I'm talking about that period of prestige television.
Mhm.
It was the first show to really feel like independent film on TV. So yeah, I highly recommend that one. Yeah, Gilmore Girls I'm not overly familiar with, but I know it's very dense in its writing, and people
Yes.
people love that. And I know Lauren Graham a little bit. I played Lauren Graham's dickish husband on Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist. Did you ever watch
I have
that?
not seen that.
Speaking of big swings, a musical television show. I only did one episode, but that was fun. Um, yeah.
I
And
think,
I agree about Golden Girls. I had a period probably 10 years ago or so where I definitely got deep on Golden Girls.
yeah,
That's good shit, no doubt
it
about
is. It is. It definitely is. As for me, I mean, besides that,
And of course, they
obviously,
were all my age.
yeah,
Like you think of them as being like 100 years old, but they really we'll see. I'm sure there'll be some sort of remake one of
yeah,
these.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think in terms of my current favorites, obviously, the Bears' final season is coming on tonight, and
Right. I think I
yeah,
read that. Yeah.
yeah, and the Pit, obviously. I mean, did you see
Yeah.
that April Fool's joke where they had on Deadline where they would put out
Yes.
the story where you and Sean Hannity were gonna?
I got a couple of texts, congratulatory texts, including one from Eric Bogosian,
Wow.
who fell for it. So I had to write back and be like, "Thank you. You should know. Look at your calendar."
Yes. Well,
I'm embarrassed to say I'm not overly familiar with the Pit, but they don't need me. Everyone else loves it. The um, the makeup people on Perry Mason when we were wrapping up. So I was like, "What's next?" And oh, we're doing this thing called The Pit. Oh, cool, enjoy. And now it's the biggest show in the world. So
What about Widow's Bay?
Widow's Bay, I've heard great things about. I also have not yet gotten a chance to watch that, but Katie Dippold, I think I worked with on Ghostbusters. I think she was the one with Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy and those guys, and Kate McKinnon. And of course Matthew, I did Perry Mason with. So yeah, I know that came out of nowhere as suddenly being what everyone says is the best thing around. So
It's incredible. It's unlike anything else. And
cool. I'll have to
yeah,
dig in.
and did you see The Americans with Matthew Rhys?
No, and that was pre-Perry Mason, but I know by the time we were working together, you want to you don't want to get too deep into you're the actor you're working with stuff because then you come to work and you're suddenly a little bit freaked out by them.
Well,
But he's not only a great actor but also a good guy. So
yes, he is.
if anyone's wondering,
Of course, yeah.
he's a
I
good guy to work with.
yes, I saw someone on X call him the Welsh Paul Rudd.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
The one time I had a conversation with Paul Rudd, we talked about a band from Minneapolis
Hmm.
called Trip Shakespeare
Yeah.
that was very big where he went to college, I think in Kansas. So anyway, so that brings all that around.
I know. Yeah. And also there's another show on Netflix with Kerry Russell, The Diplomat.
Right. That's
Amazing show.
so they're good at home. They're
Yes.
yeah.
And did you see The Burrows? Because that was a great
No,
show
it came
too.
and went. I mean, I know it's still there, the things that
Yeah.
make it, but I saw that my old friend Dennis O'Hare is on it.
Yeah.
And such a strange situation, right? Because it was like a big hit, and then they were like, "Oh,
Yeah.
you're canceled." So the
Right.
politics of behind the scenes
I
of
know.
television knows. Who knows why things
Yeah.
what happens? Yeah, we're in such an interesting time in terms of what the whole landscape is going to look at like. AI Michael Caine is narrating the Odyssey.
Right. I saw that the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of
I worked
course
with him many years ago. He played my father in a movie many years ago. He was not AI then.
good. And of course, the impending merger between Paramount and Warner Brothers is really going to
Right, which
disrupt
seems to be
everything.
going forward. And look,
Yeah.
I have no idea what to think about that.
Mhm.
Far be it for me to weigh in on.
Yeah. Any
But I know both Ghosts and Criminal Minds are on
right,
Paramount Plus, so I better
right.
not say anything
No.
too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any movies you enjoyed growing up
Well,
besides the ones we talked about?
like I said, John Waters and David, those old John Waters movies, uh, with the Dreamlanders, which was his sort of company of weirdos from Baltimore. Those were a big deal for me, and yeah, I've forgotten all the rest.
No, it's fine. It's fine. One show that you did several years ago was Conversations in LA with
Mm,
Anne Marie Cummings, who I actually had on as the second guest on this show
that's so
ever.
cool.
Yeah, yeah, way back in 2019, and it was it was kind of like doing the one take thing before adolescence made it big, you know?
Adolescence, and then the studio, right? There was that period last year where it felt like
Yeah,
a lot of shows were doing the one take thing. Um, yeah, doing that thing was you have a script. It's whatever a half hour is, 30 pages, maybe more. It's a two-hander. Each one of those is a two-hander. So you spend like it's a very interesting experience as an actor because you put it all together on your own. You spend a month before putting in your head, and then you show up on set with 30 minutes in your head, and then you just go with the other actor, which in my case was her. Uh, so that was a very interesting and cool experience. I liked that show.
yeah, I did too. Um, Did your stage experience in any way help prepare you for that?
Probably. Another time that I did something like that was there's a Broadway play called Other Desert Cities, and Tommy Sadowski
Yeah,
was in it, and Joe Mantello directed. The great Joe Mantello, currently Death of a Salesman on Broadway, which I saw last week. Anyway, I was off with Michael Caine in Europe. Sounds so glamorous. And got an email saying, "Hey, Thomas Sadowski's going to go do the newsroom on TV for a few months.
love that show.
Will you come and play the part?" They had just opened on Broadway, and will you come do this? So I spent weeks while I was doing this movie in Europe, putting a page or two a day into my head, and then came to New York and jumped in. And that was a really exciting exercise because, Stockard Channing, Stacy Keach, like they were already doing it. I wasn't going to have a bunch of rehearsals. I think I had a put in rehearsal with the understudies and off we went. But that was a similar experience of like, put it together on your own and just show up and jump in and see what happens. Could I do that today? I don't know. Maybe.
You co-starred with Thomas Sadowski in 30 Beats, which was made in 2012. And let's talk a little bit about that one.
That was a weird experience too.
Tell me more about that.
30 Beats, well, it was sort of La Ronde, meaning like it's a bunch of two-hander scenes, and then the next scene is one of the actors with a different person, and the next scene is the different person with a different, and it all comes around. And I think it was sort of like love and sex and romance based. And mine were Condola Rashad and Jennifer Tilly. Those were my two actors. And it was a hot summer in New York. That's what I remember. It was a long time ago.
Let's get into your role as the very charismatic but very dangerous presidential candidate Jared Megan on Succession.
When I got that job was my first COVID job, right? So it was really COVID had just started heating up, as it were, and that came in. And I was aware of Succession. I knew it was the hot show, but I had not personally seen it. But I knew enough to know I should probably pay attention to this job offer. And so over the next week or two before I started, I watched the whole thing. And that's an example of what I said a minute ago about how then I had to stop because I was like, all right, it's because you're about to walk on set, which is that's such a fun experience when you've been watching a show and you're a guest actor. It was like this on Ghosts too, where you're watching a thing and you're loving it. And then one day you just walk into it like you've walked into the television.
Yeah.
And then there are all those people. It's sort of like when being a kid and suddenly you get to be in Star Wars. Like there's all the folks.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a beautiful experience, Succession. I did the one episode in season 3, and then I went home and hoped that they would have me come back, and they did.
Another great actor I know, Patch Darrow, was on that show too.
I know Patch through the Roland Jones universe.
Yeah, he was on a web series called Wallflowers that I wrote about several way back in 2013, and yeah, it was for this publication it's not online anymore. It's called Snobby Robot, and it covered exclusively web series in that industry, and that was one of the first shows that I covered.
Cool. Patch is doing good these days, I think. I see his name pop up all the time.
Yeah, he was in a film with another cast member from Succession, Natalie Gold, who I recently reached out to and is another friend of mine, and called Incoming Call. And I hope to have her on the show along with Patch as well. And he was also on Best Medicine recently with Josh Charles, which is another charming show that I love.
I saw a little bit of that. Steven Spinella was in that.
Yes. And
Yeah.
he played Prior Walter on stage prior to
He's
you doing.
The OG Prior Walter.
Yes,
Indeed, yeah. And he and I were in a Terrence McNally play that we then made the movie of called Love, Valor, Compassion.
yes,
Yeah. So I know Spinny.
yeah. What was it like playing Prior Walter on camera in the film?
Yeah. It was a lot. It was a lot. Because I had been just chugging along nicely as an actor. I was a New York theater actor for a while. Then I'd come to New York and I was on a TV show on the WB. And then
Jack and Jill.
that's it, that's the one. And then
Yeah,
all of a sudden, you know, you're working with Mike Nichols and Meryl
mhm,
Streep on the most important play of our time. So it was a lot. It was a lot. Something I'm very grateful to have as a part of my life for sure.
and then of
But
course came
but at the
Weeds.
time was stressful.
Yes, then of course came Weeds, which was your really
Yeah,
big break, and you entered that in the fourth episode, and you played for
yeah,
99 episodes since then.
that's
What
right.
was that like?
Beautiful, beautiful job. Love, wonderful time. And on that thing we were doing, that was a Showtime half hour. So we
Yeah,
did, 12-ish episodes a year, which meant you went to work on that for 3 months, and then the rest of the year was whatever you were doing. And of course, I'd worked with Mary Louise on Angels in America, and I read about this thing she was doing, and then suddenly I had an audition. I did go in and read for those folks for this, and I got that material, and I just was like, you know what? I know what to do with this, and this feels good, and uh, and then it went on for a beautiful long time.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then after that was the short-lived Animal Practice, which I
Yes,
remember
indeed. Oh,
coming on
good.
after the
It's
Olympics.
it's funny I appreciate you saying you remember, because at the time it was not particularly well received
No.
by the world. Fair enough, although I certainly enjoyed making it. But of course, at the time, I thought, oh, well, this is going to follow me to my grave, how much people hate this. And now I will bring it up to somebody, and 9 times out of 10, they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. So
Mm,
it did not follow me to my grave.
uh,
But of course, I met Betsy Sidaro on that show,
mhm,
who was on Ghosts.
yeah.
You know who I'm talking about?
Uh,
One of the
yeah.
funniest actors there is.
And that's a show that I've been meaning to watch because Rose McIver is amazing.
Oh, she's
Yeah,
so
did you
great.
see her in iZombie? She plays
No, I
all
know
these
that
different,
was her, right. That was her big, like,
yeah,
CW, was it?
yes, it was the
Yeah,
versatility that she had when she was on those brains, because she was she worked in the coroner's office, and she's like this detective who can consume brains, and she can see like what happens, like she can see crimes and solve crimes based on
right.
that. I was just so amazed by her and how versatile she was in every episode.
Well, in Ghosts, she is occasionally possessed by one of the
Yeah,
ghosts, and gets to do a perfect imitation of that particular actor slash character,
um,
and does. And then the rest of the time, she's just our
yeah.
hero, our protagonist. She's fantastic.
You also did another short-lived show called APB, which
Mm.
was with Trey Calloway, who I had the distinct pleasure of friending a while back. And what was that like? I mean,
Oh,
I know
good.
obviously it was kind of ahead of its time given the technology involved.
I worked with Trey. Yes, I worked with Trey recently, actually, on a
Yeah.
sort of a pretend radio show thing. I don't know when that's coming to the world.
Mm,
But Trey's a great guy, and
yeah.
he came into that after we had already started, as network TV often happens.
Mhm.
The the chefs change as you get moving. Yeah, both both APB and Animal Practice. I was number one. They were short-lived network shows. Loved doing them both. was totally fine with the fact that I would have liked Animal Practice to go for a little more because that was right out of the gates. But we did a whole APB season, and I loved it. But I didn't, I don't lust after a long-running television show anymore because I did Weeds, and now I really love to go make a movie or go do 4 episodes of this and then go home. I don't feel the need to have something that gets to season 8 at this point. Obviously, if it was something that, you never know. You never know what comes down the pike. But I'm in a very privileged place as an actor at this point, where I only do jobs that I want to do.
Yeah. In terms of your advice for actors just starting out, what do you have? Like, what would you tell those people?
Well, this is a great question because the world is so completely different, the world of this job, than it was when I was. I was just in New York. I just got home last week. I was just out there working on a movie, and that just reminded me. I saw a lot of people from my younger days there, and it just reminded me of those times. And things were so different. How you go about even doing things. We had hard copies of headshots and resumes, and I don't know how a young person moves to New York and survives these days. It's so expensive. But I guess the only advice is pretty simple, which is, just concentrate on being great and getting better at what you do, and the rest follow, because you don't have a lot of control over the rest. And then things will come and take you in places that you didn't expect. You hook up with a company of people that are doing something, or someone comes and sees you in this and then puts you in that. And so, not to be corny, but it really is only about the work, and the rest comes as it does, which is not to say don't be smart about business stuff. Sure. But I'm not even sure what being smart about business stuff is anymore. I don't think I know any better about being smart about business stuff at this stage. So, you concentrate on what you can control, which is the work that you're doing. And that's what it all is anyway. I mean, that's what all of us, whether you're an actor or a writer or a podcaster, you're just trying to do good work. Absolutely. And the rest falls as it will.
Yes, and you've done amazing work over the years. And finally, circling back to Raglan James and the vampire Lestat, what have you taken away from playing such a mysterious and intriguing character? And what do you hope both fans of the Anne Rice universe and this series take away from seeing Raglan in action whenever he appears?
Yeah. I can't control that, what they think. I hope for the best. And I hope there's more. I mean, that's really where I am now with that. I mean, I assume I hope that they get more to do on that show, more seasons ahead. And, if we make it if they make it to season 5, that's when all the body thief stuff could sort of start happening. And that could be a lot of fun. Yeah. I like those folks over there a lot. So I would look forward to that. Yeah.
Well, Justin, I would love to have you back on again in the future to discuss that and discuss every other project you're working on. Justin Kirk, thank you so much for coming on today and taking the time to chat with me about your amazing career and your amazing work thus far. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, pal.
That's the Viewfinder Podcast for this week. I'm Chris Hadley. Thank you so much for listening. And until next time, please stay safe, everyone.
The Viewfinder Podcast is hosted, written, produced, and edited by Chris Hadley. The show's title logo is designed by Madison LeBlanc. Be sure to like, listen, and subscribe to the Viewfinder Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Check out video versions of the show on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Viewfinder Podcast with Chris H., all one word. Let us know what you think by leaving a review on this or any other episode. If you have any questions, comments, and/or guest suggestions, or if you'd like to join Chris as a guest on an upcoming episode of the show, please contact us at theviewfinderpodcast@gmail.com. That's theviewfinderpodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on X at ViewfinderPod, on Facebook at facebook.com/theviewfinderpodcast, and on Instagram at The Viewfinder Podcast. This has been The Viewfinder Podcast with Chris Hadley. This is Eric Wood speaking.